can't find peace in their minds, so they like to torture lives to feel free and relieved inside. But that's okay, I forgive them. 'Cause I know they were trying to feel better by releasing that aggression. I'm just glad they did it to me and not somebody else who would have dealt with it so differently. Instead of crying for help, I'm just hoping my wings will grow tonight, so I could spread those fucking wings and just take off into the light. And as I fly, I'll shine bright as the stars in the sky, so look up high. I'm the brightest star you'll ever fucking find. Thank you. Cool. I'm like camera shy. Oh, another one? Oh, yeah. Let me see. Thank you, I appreciate you. A second poem, right? You want me to do another one? All right. It's kind of short. I'm just trying to show you where my passion and dedication for music comes from. I ain't in it for the fame. I already know the way they play their games. Well, I'm just trying my best to show where I came from. I'm just trying to show this world from the lightest to darkest, from the darkest to lightest of browns, that color doesn't matter to me. You are the same as me, a human being with the same colored blood that I bleed. She bleeds, he bleeds, we bleed, my LGBTQIA community. For they have silenced us, or at least they tried, due to the power of money. When money doesn't buy you happiness, money doesn't buy you freedom, money doesn't buy you the love of a woman or the love of a man. We have to pay to drink the water we were given on this land. We have to pay to eat the food we were given on this land. We have to pay to live and have an education. We have to pay to die when in this life of mine, which I stand fist held up high. And I won't stop fighting for my kind, 'cause my hint that we will strive with fist held up high, 'cause we some bad motherfuckers up in here. I hope that was appropriate. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Now, those two poems, what was the energy and the reason for them behind it, you know?
So the last one I did, the second one, I kind of wrote it when, you know, once Trump became a president, you know, I don't consider him my president, but, you know, but yeah, I don't know, I was just kind of like really sad in a way and angry, because it's like, I don't know, like I said, I don't want to get so much into it, but you know, I guess I was just like really sad and angry at the same time, you know, mixed emotions, and I just thought I don't know, it was just more like a free write, and I was like, oh, I just make this into a poem. So I did some slam poetry in there. I was like, oh.
Now,
yeah.
What about the first one?
The first one, I went through a lot of stuff, you know, growing up, being gay. Like I said, it wasn't easy. You know, I've been beaten in the streets just for being gay, you know, and it's just really heartbreaking knowing how even with our own people, you know, like how it could also go down, and not just within, you know, our ethnicities, but with other ethnicities, you know, other races as well. There's just bad people, good people in this world, you know, and yeah, it's pretty much like what inspired me, I guess, to write that piece, because it was I just went through a difficult time, you know. I ended up getting sick, I abused of drugs, I started doing all these other things that weren't right, and I soon, you know, quit those bad habits, and I just told him like, oh, I gotta stop, I gotta put a stop to it, you know, this isn't right, and there's other, you know, ways to relieve myself, you know, from all that.
I feel you. I feel you.
So I chose music.
And would you say music has saved your life?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Music saved my life. Yeah.
That's dope. You ever heard that song by I think it was Lupe Fiasco?
I haven't
Hip-hop.
heard it. I'll check it out though.
Look up the song "Hip Hop Saved My Life."
For sure.
You know, like,
Oh wait, actually no, I think I heard it before.
yeah, it goes "Hip Hop has saved my life."
Yeah.
But it has like the little hook like that. Now,
Yeah.
my friend,
Yes.
I'm gonna give you the spotlight. Would you like to play a couple of tunes?
Well, but it's okay if they're like covers.
Yeah, of course.
Sure, I will.
Play to the best of your abilities.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Cool. I will need the mic.
You need the
wanna
mic?
sing?
All right, for sure, no problem.
Oh, should we just move the chair over here?
No, we can move the mic.
Sí. I guess it's gonna be here. Sí. This is a song by I have to say whose song is this? It's by Isto Jueves. He's from Guatemala. He's my inspiration to do all this actually, since I listen to him, and this is called Tu amor es medicina. Trae medicina. Que quiero limpiar. Trae medicina. Que quiero limpiar. El espíritu de la montaña, mensajero de los altos valles, el río que corre en el viento caliente, que dice que conoce las almas de la gente. Las tribus de la tierra estamos caminando, conciencia cristal está aterrizando, todos los colores y todas las razas, nada sea lo natural o destaza. Que quiero limpiar. Invoquemos los abuelos de las aguas, caudales, corrientes y fuentes y presas, que tu vibración sea alcance de la cosa, gota femenina para equilibrar la cosa. Dice que su niño caminó sobre las aguas y todos comieron compartiendo la comida. Tómalo, llévalo mi querido dominio de la tierra, no se vende, no tiene dueño. Que quiero limpiar. Que soy tu viabilidad, agua pura, tu amor es medicina. Thank you. Okay. Here we go. This is by another musician that I admire. It's called El Gordo. He's Guatemalan too. One of my inspirations. And here we go. This is
Rock it.
Muchacha de España, ya sé dónde guardas tu magia, en la luz que te acompaña. balcón, yo vi la luna que me dice que duerma tranquilo.
Thank you.
Check them out. You can have the mic close for now. So I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
What's the energy around you when you're in the zone of playing guitar and you start drowning everything else out?
I'm sorry again.
Like, tu energía.
Okay. Yes.
Like around you, like, how does it feel?
What do I feel when I
Yeah,
play?
yeah, like just like when everything it's just in your room. That's it. Like just you yourself.
It's me and what the song is about. Like, the first one is about love. So when I sing that song, I sing it with all the love of myself. So I just feel it is something like you can't explain. It's something like beautiful, like your first love, And music is my first love.
That's beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that, man. And like, this is what you want to do for the rest of your life. The guitar is like your calling.
Yeah, if this is possible, yeah, I will do it for life till the day that I die, man.
I like that. All right, let's have your friend come back up. Now, what will you be doing for us, madam?
Is it cool if we like do another song?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you can do as many songs as you want.
Yeah. It's just to have like a good recording. Oh, sorry. So we have a good.
Yeah, no problem. All right, we'll be playing another song. This is Secret River, guys.
This one's called Silly Love. The grass was greener when you were here. Oh, sunny day, the flowers bloom, but not the dead. And your silence couldn't last any longer. It gave in. Our memories are just like ink. 'Cause you're so unreal. Yeah, you're so unreal. You just left me here. Baby, you're just bad. Yeah, baby, you're just bad. Baby, you're just bad. Yeah, baby, you're just bad. You don't have to tell me. I tried to catch you by surprise. I was missing you tonight, but you got me by surprise with his hands between your thighs. Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? The kind that drives you out. You already know. You're just here for the ride. She comes and then she goes. Baby, you're just bad. 'Cause baby, you're just bad. Baby, you're just bad. Yeah, baby, you're just bad. I tried my best, but it was just silly love. I tried my best, but it just wasn't enough. I tried my best, but it was just silly love. I tried my best, but I just wasn't enough. This ain't love. This ain't love. This ain't love. This Silly Love. Cool. Thank you. Relationships, man. Relationships.
That's heavy.
Yeah, it is.
So, what do you love most about this? I see you guys are very passionate. I can see you guys pour your heart out in it. But what do you love about it?
I don't know. I feel like I just lose myself, you know, in the guitar, the sound of the guitar, the sound of my voice. Like I don't know. I just lose myself in it, and I feel relieved from everything I've been through. You know, even till this day, I'm going through things, but that's just life. You know, who isn't going through things? Life is a struggle itself, and I honestly, I just feel great. You know, I feel like it's where I'm supposed to be. You know, where I should be standing.
Where do you guys want to head to with this?
Ooh.
I know you guys have a lot of vision and heart.
Thank you.
But where do you guys want to go? Where do you want to take it?
To the top, man.
Just to the top.
To the top, yeah.
Wherever
All
the
the way
top
up.
ends up at.
All the way, right?
All the way.
And any future events you're planning to be at right now?
Yeah, we're hosting an open mic March 17th. I'll be performing there. I'll be doing some singing, some hip hop, poetry. I'll do it all, you know.
Where at?
I actually have the flyer. I could send it to you guys.
Of course.
But yeah, it's like at a house where we always have events there. But this is gonna be the second open mic we have, and you know everybody's welcome. You know.
Can I bring my group?
Yeah, go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
Can we perform?
Yeah.
No way.
Just let us know. We're looking for vendors. We're looking for musicians, poets, everything.
Ton of them.
I know you guys know a lot.
Our
Hey, there you
community
go.
is huge. Like,
Cool.
Tell you, they got the. Look at that.
Dang.
Every person in here has.
It's like I hit the jackpot right here. you
Yup.
know?
Everybody in
cool.
here has something going on, man.
I feel
So
that.
if you want to, start hitting anybody, you'll be like, yo, like, they come through, stuff like that. Or
Yeah.
you got any events, like, hit them up.
For
Pretty
sure, for
much,
sure.
it's just like, start connecting, collabing, start getting at it,
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Now, how long did it take you guys to realize this is it? You two.
Well, with me, I think I knew it since I was little. I remember, okay, this is how it kind of first started. I was listening to Beyonce, and it sounds kind of funny, but I was hearing Beyonce,
I heard Beyonce,
and I
yeah.
started singing to it, and my friend's like, oh my God, you can sing. And I'm just like, oh, for real? Like it was just kind of funny. We were kids, but that's when I realized, I'm like, damn, do I really want to sing? Maybe I do. And then I started moving on. Once I was in like 6th grade, I got my first guitar. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to learn a song, and I taught myself off YouTube, and I learned the song "One" by Metallica, and that was like the easiest song ever. And yeah, I started playing guitar ever since, and it just kind of happened.
What's your favorite album to zone out to?
Like favorite artist too, like
That too. Or you could pick an artist. You could pick an album, a song, a collection.
damn, that's hard. I have a lot of favorite artists. Well, with hip hop, I got inspired by this female rapper from Highland Park. Her name's Reverie, so shout out to Reverie. Yeah, like she's really dope. Like I remember I was on Facebook. I was like going through a breakup as well, and she has this song called One Syllable, and it popped up on my newsfeed because one of my friends shared it, and I was like, oh, what's this? And I wasn't so into hip hop then, but I clicked on it and I'm just like, oh dang, like it hit me, and I was like, I wonder if I could express myself that way through hip hop, So I started writing some verses, and then I don't know, it just happened,
You know who Bell 9 is?
Oh yeah, I know who Bell 9 is.
That's the homegirl. But yo,
She's so dope.
Last year we got to open up for her
Yeah.
in Vegas.
Oh wow, that's dope.
But let me tell you, man, that experience, like seeing her just fucking kill it, was insane.
Yeah, because she raps, she sings.
Oh yeah, like that's why I give a lot of like power back to female rappers, singers, and stuff like that. Mostly for the simple fact that even in as we see them, people don't give them much respect because they're a female.
Yeah.
As an
I feel
MC,
that.
as an MC, I see that a lot. Even like Sean Price has said like he doesn't like female rappers.
Wow.
Yeah, but they do give a lot. You know who Medusa is?
Yeah, I know who Medusa is.
Jesus Christ, she's so awesome.
There's a lot of like really talented female MCs. Like, well, I could understand what you're saying with that. You know, even it's hard being a female MC. You know, it's hard
Definitely.
in general. Like, I don't know. I even went through like I was working with this producer, and it was just very abusive, and we often get abused, and that's like, it's common, especially with women, but I'm not saying, you know, with guys it's not common, because
sure
men go through that too, you know?
But it's more frequent with women.
Yeah, it's more,
you know?
yeah. And it's like, he was like really verbally abusive, and I just couldn't handle it, and I just, I stepped out, I stepped away from it, and I'm just like, this isn't right, you know, why am I gonna go through this? Like, he was like, oh, I'll sign you and everything, I could be paying you for this stuff, and I was like, yeah, you could, but you're not doing it, you know, like, you want to help me, but show me what you could do for me, you know. And but yeah, it's like, I've dealt with a lot of people that, you know, they try to steal my ideas, or they try to, you know, mimic my craft and try to, you know, all this stuff, and it's like, I don't see it as a bad thing, which is why I started, you know, copywriting all my stuff. But I admire it because it's like, I know they look up to me. You know, that's why I embrace that. And it's like, I don't know, it's just, it's hard.
I was about to ask you another question about that, but you already answered it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Now, my question will go to your friend here. What's your message about to female MCs and MCs or pretty much guitar players that, you know, they're from the LGBTQ community?
What is my like
your message, your imprint that you want to leave, pretty much?
Well, to all of them, it's not just for the community, LGBTQI. So it's for everyone who always want to play an instrument or sing, but you know, sometimes people don't take you in count, like they don't want you to do the things, or they don't want you to grow as a musician. So for all of them, I came from a situation like that 5 years ago, and the only thing to do is like keep doing it. Try as hard as you can, and every chance that you have, take it, because sometimes the chances don't come back. And for everyone who's gonna do it, just come on, do it. It's never late.
That's right.
I feel that, guys. So I hope after this experience coming out live on, you know, web shows, I hope it gives you an idea for your band name.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope it encourages you guys to tighten your messages even more, like pretty much fortify it all. 'Cause I see a lot of like passion in you guys, you know. So my words to you guys would probably be keep going, you know. I want you guys to never stop.
Thank you. That's right.
Thank you. We'll never.
Thank you very much.
But after this, what are your plans?
Like, what do you mean, like after
your experience? What are you guys gonna do to like go even harder, pretty much?
Well, I already talked to some, you know, band members. We're, you know, like I said, we're looking for a drummer, a bassist, you know, and we're just gonna start a band. I mean, they want to practice like next week. You know, they barely hit me up like yesterday. They're like, hey, we should start a band. Let's do it. You know, I want to do some hip hop, some, you know, jazzy thing going on. I don't know.
Are you picky with your beats?
Yeah, as long as they're not trap beats, I'm cool with it.
Hey.
You know, I like to keep it old school.
No, I mean, like, homeboy right here is actually a producer too.
Oh, what?
Dope producer.
Dang.
But he works, he's everywhere. I want you guys, you know, or want you, because you're the MC pretty much, you know, hit him up. Hit up, you know who D-Money is? It's just homeboys pretty much. You can follow them on Instagram, but they make music too. They're with the, you know, they're with the shits, the ism. But they're always looking for other MCs to join on their projects. They want to do a city project where they grab MCs from all over the, you know, LA,
like
all over
areas.
Boyle Heights and stuff like that, and bring them together, you know, because they see it how I see it, how everybody in the studio pretty much sees it.
Right.
You know, we want to connect heads to make more.
Yeah.
Feel me? And the more we connect, the more people we bring together, you feel me?
And at the same time, we're inspiring the youth, you know, to keep going with their craft or whatever they believe in, you know, whether it's hip hop or poetry, or whether it's them, you know, wanting to write a book. Like, as long as it inspires the youth, like, it's really cool. Yeah.
Who are some people in your personal life that inspire you to continue this?
My mom.
Mom?
My mom, for sure.
Shout out to Mama Secret River.
Yes. Yeah, and also, like, Reverie, you know, she got me into hip hop. You know, if it weren't for her, for me seeing that song, you know, I would have never, you know, done hip hop, or I don't know. That's how I see it, because I never thought I would ever rap. And my mom, she's like, oh, like, I don't know, she just didn't expect it, and I didn't either, and it just kind of happened, and I was like, I'm just gonna try a bit of everything.
Might as well,
forget
right?
it, you know? Yeah. But yeah, my mom, Reverie, yeah, it's pretty.
You got any messages for all the young artists? Last final messages?
Well, whatever, you know, whatever they believe in, you know, just to keep going. Nothing's impossible. You know, I hear a lot of people say, oh, it's impossible for me to do this. Nothing's impossible. You could do it. Look at me. I never took classes for singing. I never took classes, you know, for rapping, if that even exists. I never took classes for guitar playing. You could do anything. You just got to set your mind to it.
What do you feel about self-teaching? People that self-teach themselves to do certain things. What is your opinion on that?
Well, I feel like, and it's like, you know, when you go to school, you learn a thing. There's a teacher teaching the class, right? So you're there to learn, and you're learning new things, like whether it's a math problem or, you know, it's all in you, whether you want to learn it or not. You know, it's all in you, so.
What about you, man?
About the people who self-taught the things. Actually, I kind of self-taught how to play the drums, and well, it's kind of funny.
It's funny, right?
Yeah, it's funny.
I feel you, because like when I started freestyling for the first time, I would say like 3 words and I'll just like stop. Like, no, you know what? Can't do that.
You're like, no.
But that's really cool. Like, and do you really want to do you want to pursue this like further into the future?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've gotten interviewed at like Live Nation, and I got the chance to talk to people in the industry, and you know, having that, you know, around me and having connections is like, it just feels right, you know, to be around, you know, people in the industry and being able to ask them for advice, you know, that I feel like I can't ask anybody else, you know, back when I'm home or anything. Because, you know, my family, no one really, like, does music. Like, I'm kind of the only one. So it's like, I feel like I want to keep going because I want to get out the hood. You know, I love the hood and everything. That's where I grew up. But for me, I feel like it's not safe, because just recently, you know, in the area that I live in, I was gangbanged on, like, and I was wearing pink. And they asked me where I was from, and then I'm just like, really? I was like, really?
I feel like at least the surrounding areas in LA, and LA, like, there's a lot of, I guess, people being brought down, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how I say it, like, not just like, you know, like folks of the LGBT or like color and stuff like that. It's just like an all around wormhole to like hatred and like, you know, no appreciation for everything around it. But that's why I say, like, you guys got to continue. The more we all continue, the better we can unite other people, you know?
That's
and
true.
we can all come from colors, sexualities, you know, genders, and, you know, whatever they are, classes and stuff like that. As long as we're connected and we're always pushing forward, that's what matters.
Word, yeah.
And now,
I agree.
would you guys like to spew your handles or any web stores, any, you know, future events that you're going to be at, stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, just follow my page at Foxy La Chingona. You could follow his page at Happy Minor. I'll be posting on my page, you know, the flyers of the events we're going to have. And yeah, I mean, I follow back, by the way. I follow everyone back.
Yeah, and also, if you follow my page as Happy Minor, there's a link in my bio, like it conducts you to my original work in SoundCloud. So if you guys can do that, that will be amazing. And I follow back too.
Yeah. We got to follow back. I know a lot of like artists, they have like a really high ego, so they don't follow people back, and it's like
I follow everybody back.
Hell
I
yeah.
try to. It's just kind of like difficult.
I mean, unless it's like a fake account and you can tell it's a fake account, you're just like, oh nope.
Like I feel like most of them follow you just like so you can follow them, and then they don't follow you, and you're just like, come on.
Oh yeah, trust me, I've seen that happen.
Because I see people like, oh, great stuff, but it's like not even like music related. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like a random picture.
They're just like, follow back, and you follow them, and then it turns
Nah,
out that they just unfollowed you.
Foxy La Chingona and
Yes, sir.
Happy
Minor.
Minor. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you for having us.
It was a beautiful experience. I
Yes,
enjoyed
I
it.
agree.
I'm pretty sure the rest of the studio enjoyed it.
Cool.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you.
That to say you're going to lead something creates a lot of hostility, division, jealousy, and envy.
Constantly a temptation to formulate special legislation especially for the purpose of controlling abuse of the medium. The Sloan Commission has, in general, taken the view that additional special legislation with respect to cable television is unnecessary and might in itself constitute a threat to civil liberties. We believe that reliance on existing laws and statutes, the product of centuries of interaction between government and the media of communication, is by far the preferable course. So that last paragraph is stating that it's not advisable to regulate the communication over cable any further than just depending on the current laws that exist. Just to take a side note, this is something that is actually going to be retouched in the year 2000, and the digital copyright, I can't remember what it's called now exactly. It's the Digital Copyright Millennium Act, or DC. You can look it up on Wikipedia. Just look up Digital Copyright Millennium Act. And this is going to be talking about new legislation regarding copyright and the use of this new communication form over television and internet. Okay, I will go back to the reading on page 8, and there is a new heading that is Hazards of Prediction. The communication, by the very nature of its charge, has been asked to predict and to prescribe for the future. We have chosen to interpret that charge to significantly and relative. Wait, sorry. Let's try that again. Let me just make sure that my audio pack is still here. Okay. We have chosen the Commission by the Okay. Let's start again. Sorry for that. The Commission, by its very nature of its charge, has been asked to predict and to prescribe for the future. We have chosen to interpret that charge to signify the relative near future. And we have attempted to make both our predictions and prescriptions open-ended. The Commission simply did not believe that its own collective wisdom, or indeed that any collective wisdom, was sufficient to justify apodictic statements about the nature of broadband communications, or of communications in general in the year 2000, or at some other remote moment in time. By the time our deliberations were well along, we had the sense that we were beginning to see with some degree of clarity what might happen, and what might reasonably be constrained to happen, during the first half of the decade of the 70s. With somewhat less assurance, but without apology, we believe also that we could make recommendations that might well be worth heeding during those years and the 5 or 10 years that will follow. Our range of vision, we were bold enough to believe, was reasonably sound over 10 years and perhaps 15. Beyond that, we were reluctant to venture. The Commission has attempted to make its recommendations such that they can be readily modified and The Commission has attempted to make its recommendations such that they can be readily modified as circumstances alter, and so that actions taken as the consequences of our recommendations will not at some future time be straitjackets to progress and change. If there is one thing certain, it is that the technology of communication will continue to evolve, and that the demands society wishes to make upon communication will evolve with technology. Over the years since the end of World War II, television regulation has been such as to impose upon the United States a system that is far less than the technology of television could now provide. Something of that is inevitable. But the Sloan Commission has at least attempted to make recommendations consistent with the present capabilities and potential growth of the technology. The consequences of the decision in this report that hews closely to the state of the art as it now exists, or as can confidently be expected to develop. It is tempting to venture into the blue sky of technological imagination, and to write knowledgeably about widespread, low-cost, two-way, point-to-point television systems, about home communication centers, which can deliver printed copies of any volume in any library on any continent, about coax cable systems, which will cook dinner, wash the windows, and tend to the babies. It is salutary to realize that most of these accomplishments may be possible one day, and that day may be sooner than one thinks. But it is the hard fact of technology, wedded to the even harder facts of economics, provided no warranty for the belief that any of these will come to fruition upon a time scale that can confidently be established in advance. I want to just re-examine that last paragraph because I really, really enjoy it. It says, I'm going to start halfway through. Let's just start at the beginning again. The consequence of the decision is a report that hews closely to the state of the art as it now exists, or it can confidently be expected to develop. But this is the part that I like. It is tempting to venture into the blue sky of technological imagination and to write knowledgeably about the widespread, low-cost, two-way, point-to-point television systems, about home communication centers which can deliver printed copies of any volume in any library on any continent, about coaxial cable systems which can cook dinner, wash the windows, and tend to the babies. Well, we have two-thirds of that statement. We have a low-cost, two-way, point-to-point television system. Hi, we're using it right now. If you're on Instagram, you're watching me on a it is a, peer-to-group. If you're watching me on dronebox.com, you're watching on a point-to-point system. If you're watching me on facebook.com, it's also point-to-point. We have a communication center which can deliver printed copies of any volume in any library on any continent. The internet is the thing that this book is describing. They do say that they are trying to not venture into the blue sky of that future communications technology. But this book, I would argue, is doing that just by existing. As we go further into this book, you will see what I mean, and hopefully you will understand that this is describing the internet as we need it, not as we have it. Okay, I digress, and I will return back to page 9, paragraph number 2. Some speculation, however, has been inescapable, and indeed lies in the very heart of this report. There is a new communication system developing, and if the recommendations of this commission are followed, or if recommendations like them in the spirit are adopted as guides to action, it is likely to develop quickly. in making our judgments upon the former such a system should take. We have been obliged to speculate upon the use to which such a system might and will be put. Speculations informed and reasoned speculation. Okay, sorry. Speculations dash informed and reasoned speculation, but speculation nonetheless. It almost it I'm sorry. Speculation. Informed and reasoned speculation, but speculation nonetheless is all the Commission had at hand for estimating the size and scope of these new uses. In the end, the shape they will assume will be determined on one hand by entrepreneurs, public and private, who are willing to take the responsibility of risking money and career on the promotion of an idea or an ideal, and on the other hand by the users of the system through the response they make to the undertaking of the entrepreneurs. Again, another very important paragraph. This is saying that these technologies are dependent upon those who create them and those who use them. Right now, we need, as users, to be reformulating how we think of ourselves as a user, because we are also constructing this system. It is upon us to help recreate the internet in the vision that we would like to use it and see it. I digress back to page 10. Paragraph 2. The strength of such a model of development is that it does not depend upon the judgment of one man or of one small group of men. The outcome is determined by the collective judgment of the whole community, worked out in the marketplace by measured success and measured failure. Tens of thousands of men and women are thus enabled to contribute to the final resolution of the problem, and the major contributions are quite likely to be made by those whom it would be impossible to identify in advance, whatever the process of selection. The Commission has been forced to guess at outcomes in the certain knowledge that it will be wrong in detail, and that it will also be wrong at least time to time in the general conclusion. The subject is in all its elements too complex to justify hopes of any greater success. We've attempted to look into the future on the bias of what can be surely determined in the present, and of what we believe we know about the way rational men behave, and of what we believe society desires and should obtain from a communication system. That's the end of chapter 1. Take a brief break, and I'll be back in about 2 minutes after I have some water. Thank you. let's back around. Hello. Okay. So, hey Juan, can you do me a favor? Yeah. Can you turn the monitor around on the camera so I can see myself? Just make sure I'm in frame. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you very much. Hi everyone, and welcome back to On the Cable, the television of abundance. I'm Louis Silverstein, your host, and I will be reading On the Cable, the television of abundance. If you would like to follow along, please go to dronebox.com/onthecable. You will be able to download a PDF copy with OCR so you can follow along as I read On the Cable. Please do not distribute this, as this is for educational purposes only. Thank you very much. Chapter 2. The Technology, a Primer. This is on page 11. A television camera is a device that I'm sorry, started a little too fast here. Let's slow that down. Okay. A television camera is a device that accepts information concerning the scene to which it is exposed, including the sound that accompanies that scene, and encodes it in a form of an electronic circuit. The television receiver is a matching device that decodes the electronic current and converts it into a succession of pictures on the cathode ray tube, and once again, the accompanying sound. It takes a good deal of electronic circuitry to accomplish all of this, but machinery has brought it about, but machinery to bring it about at either end can be purchased for a few $100s or less. What remains is the necessity to transmit the signal from the camera which creates it to the receiver which decodes it. There's a lot that I think is packed into that last paragraph here. I want to reread it because I want you to think, I want to put this into just into perspective of what you're watching right now. If you're watching me on dronebox.com, if you're watching me on Facebook, if you're watching me on Instagram, I would like to just to think about this paragraph as I read it again. The television camera is a device that accepts information concerning the scene to which it is exposed, including the sound that accompanies that scene, and encodes it in a form of an electronic circuit. A television receiver is a matching device that decodes the electronic current and converts it into a succession of pictures on a cathode ray tube, and once again the accompanying sound. It takes a good deal of electronic circuitry to accomplish all of this, but machinery to bring it about at either end can be purchased for a few $100s or less. What remains is the necessity to transmit the signal from the camera which creates it to the receiver which decodes it. So I'm going to digress again, just to explain. What's happening right now, the camera that is being exposed to the scene and the sound is sitting here in dronebox.com. It is being encoded via our server and being sent up to a computer on the internet. We have a computer in the cloud, in a server farm somewhere. That server has that video signal. When you ask for it by going to dronebox.com or going to Instagram or going to Facebook, you are then being transmitted that signal. That signal is then being decoded on your machine and you are now watching it. So the paradigm at which this is talking about was an analog system. We now are doing the same thing in the digital world. So, to continue. One method employed conventionally is the radiation of electromagnetic wave from a transmitting antenna. The wave travels outwards from the antenna. It is quote-unquote broadcast in the root sense of the word, losing energy as it travels. But for a distance of about 50 miles or so, it can be intercepted by any receiver that lies in its path, and is turned into, let's try that again. But for a distance of about 50 miles or so, it can be intercepted by any receiver that lies in its path, and is tuned to its wavelength. And for another 50 miles or so, it can be intercepted if the radiating and receiving antennas are high enough off the ground by the use of increasingly elaborate equipment. By the time the curvature of the Earth begins to block the receiver from the transmitter, the signal is gradually diminished and lost. Okay, I also would like to just point out, for just meme sakes, page 12 on the cable, written in 1971. The curvature of the Earth. The Earth is fucking round. Thank you. Okay. By the time the curvature of the Earth begins to block the receiver from the transmitter, and the signal is gradually diminished and lost. Just keep that in your minds out there if anybody would like to argue with you about this. Okay. Another method, equally conventional, is the transmission of a signal or many signals along a wire or a conductor of some other sort. The second method is quite as old as the first. Transmission by wires is, in fact, inseparable from transmission by radiation, for the signal must travel at the outset by wire or cable from the camera to the transmitting antenna, and once arrived at its destination, must travel once again by wire from the receiving antenna to the television set. The system in common use is in principle a mixed system, which uses a little cable at the transmitting end, a little wire at the receiving end, and a great deal of electromagnetic radiation in between. In practice, it can be considered a radiated system. It's a dense paragraph, or at least a few paragraphs here. I would like to just digress and explain, I think, what is important here to just compare to how we function today in the 21st century. This is describing television as an analog system, where it is talking about the signal being radiated out from the broadcast source, and how once that gets to your home, it then is received and sent over wires to your television set. Now, comparing that to modern day technology, let's use the computer. So, in this analogy, the Wi-Fi in your house would be the radiated signal, and the circuitry inside your computer is the wired system. If you have a Ethernet system in your house where you have a wired network, where you're getting your information from a wired, maybe a wireless ISP, you could be getting your wireless information transmitted to your house, and then your switch, which is connected to an Ethernet connection to your computer, that is the wired connection. And the wireless connection, or the wireless radiation that they're describing in this, is the Wi-Fi signal or the cellular signal. I will be doing a separate set of lectures after this completion of On the Cable, which will be describing how the internet works and how modern technology works. That is on a show that we will be doing called Hello World. So tune in another few weeks to start with Hello World once we have the conclusion of On the Cable. To go back to On the Cable, page 12, we are starting at the header, what is coax cable? The pure cable system, to the extent that it is a self-contained entity, dispenses entirely with electromagnetic radiation. That's a false statement, I would just like to point out. They're going to even tell you why later in this that's wrong, but just keep that in your mind, that is not right. Sorry, digression back to the second sentence here. At its heart lies the coax cable, which is in part described by the word coaxial itself. As figure 2-1 indicates, the coax cable consists of a small diameter inner conductor, a larger diameter outer conductor, a plastic foam to keep them apart, and a main end to maintain electric field between them, and an outer sheath to protect the entire cable from weather or whatever else might affect the operation of the system. Okay, we're going to go back and read that again. As figure 2-1 indicates, the coaxial cable consists of a small diameter inner conductor, a larger diameter outer conductor, a plastic foam to keep them apart and to maintain electric field between them, and an outer sheath to protect the entire cable from the weather or whatever else might affect the operation of the system. So right now we're going to look at figure 2-1, which is on page 13. So we have that. So we see the inner conductor, the foam, the outer conductor, and our plastic sheath on the outside. Okay. Such cable can be used to transmit electric signals from zero frequency direct current to frequencies of several billion cycles per second. The coax cable used to transmit television signals carries all frequencies between 40 million and 300 million cycles per second. Oh no, it looks like my live stream here has died on Instagram. So let's try it again here. Oh, okay. Okay, we're live again here on Instagram. Okay. Hi on the recording. We're back. Okay. I'm going to try this again. Let's just reread that sentence here so I can cut this back together. Okay. Such cable can be used to transmit electrical signals from zero frequency direct current to frequencies of several billion cycles per second. The coax cable used to transmit television signals carries all frequencies between. My audio's on? Okay. Well, lots of things to check to make sure everything's working. Okay. The coax cable used to transmit television signals carries all frequencies between 40 million and 300 million cycles per second. A television wire, by contrast, transmits frequencies between 300 and 5,000 cycles per second. Since a television signal requires a bandwidth of 6 million cycles per second, a coax cable can carry, in principle, the equivalent of 40 channels of television. Although other considerations reduce the capacity, in principle, by about half to 20 channels of television. Because the cable must perform the entire task of carrying a signal from its point of origin to the set which is to receive it, there must be a physical cable link between the source of the signal, called the head end of the system, and each subscriber on the system. Figure 2-2 shows how this is ordinarily affected in a modern, let's try that sentence again. Figure 2-2 shows how this is ordinarily affected in a moderately dense populated area and in its simplest form. Let's take a quick diversion here to figure 2.2. Figure 2.2 is on page 14. So we have figure 2.2. Okay. Okay, so figure 2.2. So, figure 2.2 shows how this is ordinarily affected in a moderately dense populated area and in its simplest form. From the head end, a trunk line runs out through the area to be covered. Feeder lines fan out from the trunk in a fashion that brings at least one feeder line within approximately 75 to 150 feet of each residence in the area.